This is House of Transport. My name is Jide Odioye, the Transport Master. Welcome to our Road Etiquette series. If you recollect, we discussed the issue of hands-free gadget use while you're driving, the safety implications, how it is not the right thing to do even though you're using your earpiece or not. As part of our ongoing series, this episode we shall be discussing the issue of on-street parking. We beg the question, who has a right to park on streets? What does on-street parking mean anyway? So there are two forms of parking. So there is on-street parking and there is off-street parking. On-street parking means like you leave your vehicle, you park it on the highway, on the road, highway, whatever you want to call it, right? But on the public road, highway. The off-street parking is where a dedicated parking lot, either a building, multi-story level parking facility has been provided, or you have a parking lot like you might have on the marina for those of us that are familiar with Lagos Island in the city of Lagos. Now, parking becomes so emotive for so many people. And a lot of drivers claim rights that they do not have. It is true that every time you take your car out of the house and you're going to a specific place, destination, you must need to park there. So how many of us as drivers in Lagos plan what we're going to do with our vehicle when we get to where we're going? Sometimes you can go to an event and let's just say like a party, birthday, burial, whatever it may be. And you get there late and the limited parking spaces has been taken over by those that got there before you. And then you come in and then these spaces are filled up. And the next thing you're asking those that are there like, so where should I park? Now, is it the responsibility of those people that are managing the parking space to find a spot for you if there is none? Or is it your responsibility as a driver to go find somewhere that you need to park? So instead of obstructing other road users whilst you're asking all these questions, when you know that the answer may not be favorable to you, why don't you just take responsibility for your vehicle and go find somewhere to park? There are times when we've discussed with people, like I said, prepare yourself just in case you don't find a parking spot near where you're going, especially for our female drivers. So we know we admire your fashion sense. You like to wear high heels and everything. But then if you don't find a parking space, will you be able to walk the extra distance in your high heels? Is it not like practical to have a pair of sandals or slippers that you can wear to walk to film and carry it in a little bag? These are the thinking stuff, because if you don't, what you'll end up doing, which is unacceptable, would be to either park obstructively or dangerously. Part of dangerous parking is when you double park. Because once you double park and you block somebody else, when there's an emergency, that emergency is sorted out negatively. Okay? For example, when you're going to the bank or eateries, as we call them in this part of town, do you insist in parking in the premises when you know that the parking that is there, the person that has gotten there before you would likely finish whatever they're doing before you, and then you'll have to come out and obstruct most of movements just so you can allow that person to go? Is it important to you? Is it a need? Is it a safety issue? Or is it a concern about your property that would force you to actually stay on the road and wait to see if the parking space is going to be free for you? So parking is very important when we're talking about traffic flow, when we're talking about danger to other road users. We've talked about pedestrian crossing. Do you know that there's some people, they actually feel comfortable parking on the zebra crossing because it's convenient for them? We even have people on the island that they actually would park on the walkway, forcing pedestrians to walk on the carriageway as opposed to the area that is meant for them. So when we're on the road and we're trying to build a proper etiquette for ourselves, we must understand the parameters that it is not a God-given right that you must park anywhere on the road. And that is why some of us will fall foul of enforcement agents when they say you've parked obstructively. And there's another thing that's kind of funny. You know, some people only believe that it is when they have left their car unattended, that is when they have parked. Because I remember telling some other people, like, listen, even though they're seated behind the wheel and they're stationary, some of them will put their hazard on, some don't. And I say to them, do you know that where you've parked is not okay and it's obstructive? You can see the problem that it is creating on the road, and you're there. And the most answers they will give to me is, I'm not parked, I'm not parked. The truth of the matter is, every time your vehicle is stationary on the road and it's not moving, I'm not talking about in traffic, as in you're stationary at any spot on the carriageway, on the highway, it is called parking. You have parked. If you're driving an automatic car, more than likely the gear is already in P, so you are parked. It is not when you have left it that you say you have not parked. So try and avoid obstructive parking. Try and avoid dangerous parking. Try and calculate that where you park may affect other road users, and it is better for you to seek for a better spot where you're part of improving the etiquette of road use. So a lot of people need to understand that when you've parked on the highway and you're stationary, it is called parking on the street. So if there's no off-street parking and you need to use the road, always remember, you are not the owner of the road, and it's not just about you. Thank you for listening on this subject. Kindly subscribe to our social media channels, especially our YouTube TV. Next episode, we shall be discussing the issue of lane markings and lane discipline. You know what that means? Who has the right of way on the road, and do we understand what the markings on the road says to us? Thank you.